Well, they need to beat Fulham for starters. They can't lose that game. You know, to lose to Fulham, it's even worse. But I would like to see him have time this window, the summer window, and then judge him on next season, because he's got a lot of players in that squad that he don't want. You know, Aubameyang, there's a reason why Arteta got rid of him. You know, he'll be there now, probably being a bad egg at the club. He's got to get him out the door. He's got Azpilicueta, who's getting on a bit now. That's going to have to play more football because of Reece James' injury problems. He's number one left back, Chilwell, injury problems. Cucurella hasn't performed. You know, striker-wise, they brought in Felix now. For me, he's not the answer. I think he's lightweight and he's not what Chelsea need. So I feel like he needs to be given time. But in the Premier League, do you get time? If you're 15 points off the top four come the end of the season, do you deserve time? I don't know.
We'll also learn a lot about Todd Boehly, won't we, this season, I think.
Of course we will.
We've seen his signings. He's now said, look, I'm going to take a step away from that role, the kind of, I suppose, technical director side of things.
Listen, would you, Gabby, I think new owner, new manager, there has to be a certain degree of leeway given to both, right? Chelsea were spoiled, by the way, under the previous ownership, I think, Abramovich, who was a bit trigger happy with coaches and managers as well, by the way, so don't worry about that. But in terms of what he gave that club, I think a lot of the Chelsea fans, myself included, would say it was, you know, arguably one of the greatest times in the club's history. So you automatically think you want that to continue. Of course you want it to continue, but time must be given to whether it's a new coach, a new manager, a new owner, to see where they want to go, where their ideas, where to go, where they want to take the club. And I think it's so important that I think it'd be a tragedy if Graham Potter lost it. It just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right in so many counts, because at a time where they should be building a relationship and building the future for Chelsea, there's already, in my opinion, stupidity talk of Graham Potter losing his job.
Laura? What do you think?
I think the same as Ali, actually. I think this is a brilliant English manager, and I think what we saw that he did with Brighton, eventually it took Brighton some time as well, though, didn't it? Because they were always that club that they'd look quite exciting, and they were just kind of almost missing that final product. So I would love to see him give him more time. I hate the idea of Chelsea dispatching him, bringing him in, not giving him the kind of support that previous managers might have got and the bank balance yet, not giving him a window or two to just bring in the changes that he wants to bring in. I just think it's really just that feeling of dispatching someone, and I guess because we're English, I feel a little bit more protective over Graham Potter, because I want that man to be a brilliant manager for the future as well. I want him to do great things for England.
But I think he needs to sort out that squad of players, because some of them turn up 1 week, don't turn up for 3 weeks. Ziyech, you know, we saw him from Morocco in the World Cup, outstanding. Exactly. He comes back to Chelsea, it's someone else's fault when he misses. He's not performing, he's not getting the service, he's sulking when he comes off. Pulisic, Ziyech, they're not the players that are going to get Chelsea into the top four. He needs to have a good clear out, bring in his own players, and Kunku's coming in. You know, you've got Sterling, Havertz. You need more out of Havertz as well. Need more out of him. He feels like he's in the comfort zone.
I also think that we sometimes make provisions for certain managers and managers that we like. You know, we look at teams and we go, they've lost a lot of players. They've had a lot of injuries. Yeah. In this case, Graham Potter he's been absolutely battered with those kind of injuries. So I think sometimes it's not as easy as it looks. And I think you can only really learn about a manager once you give him time.
I think that's a great point you make. I really do. I think that's a great point you make. And I actually sit here and think to myself, if we should be cutting anybody a bit of slack, it's a young British manager. Give him a little bit of time. He's done a great job, fantastic job wherever he's been before he went to Brighton. It took a little bit of time to get Brighton turned around, and look at them. What a success story that is. And that's continuing as well, by the way. So give him time.
One thing I would also say, just to finish it off on the Mauricio Pochettino rumours, is Mauricio Pochettino has been linked with just about every job under the sun in recent years. It was the World Cup, and he was linked with the England job. He was linked with the Manchester United job before that. He was linked with a job coming back to Spurs. Now he's linked with a job at Chelsea. We know he's out of the job at the moment, and we know that he wants to come back in. He loves England. He's got a house over here. I'm sure he wants to get back into a job as quickly as possible. It feels almost like the sort of natural thing to say, doesn't it, when there is potentially a manager under pressure? Mauricio Pochettino is waiting there. I just think, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I think part deserves time, and he needs a good clear out. Yeah. And he needs to get players like Koulibaly, Ali, performing like he performed at Napoli, because he's not been the same player.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday morning 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.